Good morning, happy people. I'm sure glad you joined us today for Chartroom episode 157. Everything in this video is not financial, investment, or trade advice of any kind. Everything is just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. Bear in mind that I eat red crayons for breakfast, but today I had bacon and waffles. Trading the market carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. This is also never nutritional advice either. I got this as a message today, and I thought this was very interesting. Okay, and this was forwarded to me. 2 nights ago, I had a dream about Bitcoin. First, it was like God or a figure or authority saying, I'm going to bring blank from 9 to 3. And I felt it was about the market or something like that, but I'm not sure what he was talking about. Maybe you will have an idea what this is 9 to 3 means, and this was forwarded to me by Ian, and this was sent to him. And maybe you have an idea about the 9 to 3 could mean, but in my mind it meant a big drop. Knowing this information, I thought I needed to sell some of my positions, and I thought I had time. And then I saw a green chart which went up linearly. See the first image, and then this was the micro view. I knew we had reached 60,000 quicker than I thought. And what this is a chart that looks like what Superfood and Janae call parabolic. It looks like that, and it's like a upward, but it's more like a straight line. I guess it's like this, right? In the image that was shown me, and it just says 60K on the top. It's just somebody drawing a line going upward like that. Knowing this information, I thought I needed to sell some of my positions, okay? And then I saw the macro view of Bitcoin chart, which had more or less of the same shape, more or less of this shape. See the second image, where we were at the top of the chart, and once 60K was reached, I saw the number 60,000 flashing briefly. And then very quickly, I saw BTC started to crash. I heard people screaming of joy, and for some who expected the fall, and screams of panic for others who did not expect it. I only saw the beginning of the fall. I don't know how low the price has fallen. What's interesting is that the next morning I watched Jay Song's Chartroom episode 153, and he was explaining Bitcoin could peak at 60K. Personally, I don't have 60K in mind for a crash. I'll leave you to pray about this. Please share if you have confirmation or additional information. God bless you. Have a great day, a great evening. And I clicked the like button, so I think that's awesome. It's very interesting. Oh, and the image looks something like this for the second image, where we hit 60K and then came down. You can see it looks like a large, almost vertical move up towards the end. And I think that's going to be really telling about what it's gonna look like. Now this also matches that prophetic dream we heard that there would be a large pump in prices right before, in a large green candle, some people call it a God candle, for Bitcoin. And after that, we will see a very large move to the downside. Okay. I can see, now that we look at our Bitcoin chart, and we'll go to our Bitcoin chart, we can see a few things that we've been watching for quite a bit. And one of those things has been the overall story with Bitcoin. In Bitcoin, we can see that there's more to the puzzle. In the overall trend, it's possible we can hit anywhere up to 204,000 based on some of the largest energy and foundational energy in Bitcoin, okay? Based on these bottoms here and mid-phantom responding primarily where mid-phantom should respond, which is right here, price is acting very much as expected in many ways. When we duplicate the key angle for Bitcoin based on these two major points of energy, and we place it up here or even up here, it's the same exact angle. And therefore it becomes a phantom angle. One really here, and then I think there's one higher on the daily chart. That's exactly where it should be. It's going to be somewhere around here. But we're getting in that same cluster of candles pretty close. And therefore, they're verifying that this is the overall trend. So Bitcoin has potential. And therefore, the prices for the bottoms of Bitcoin are along this track. Meaning some of the lowest prices will fall are here. Now, there will be exceptions to the rule. But if we look carefully, those are just the wicks. Those are just, price may hit there for half an hour or so. That's not the root price. The root price is here, as I've drawn it before to you guys like this, okay? So we can see that those are the outliers. And they would be hidden battlers if we ever go down that far, by the way. But to the upside, there's prices that have to be hit going to the higher side. I am still very much bullish Bitcoin, and I'm going to give you two big reasons why we're still bullish Bitcoin. And why we can expect this strong upward candle possibly soon. Number one, this Bitcoin candle has an average price of 64,000. If we look at the low side, what is that number? 61. The high side is around 67. So that's going to be the range for the old flats. Okay, so these areas where price was going up back in March and April of 2021, price came down, and then we come back up on November of 2021, we're still within the same block of price. Now, it's not a perfect flat, and so that's generally a little bit more bullish, okay? Because if it's a perfect flat, that means we may have a harder rejection at that point. But it is a perfect flat. But it is a type of flat in those ranges. And I think that what we're going to see, actually, I need to take that back. On a monthly chart, it is a perfect flat, or pretty darn close. It's even more close, okay? So you can see that if we come up to these areas, it's going to be very likely we're going to reject and go down for a little bit of time. And the other possibility is there's a money-making maneuver because there's a lot of sell orders in these areas, a lot of sell orders. There's a money-making maneuver, I talk about it often, where many times they will pump price through those areas, and you'll see price just pump through those areas just to appease these people, and it will look something like this. And we may come back down to that 60,000 area to that. But if this is the prophetic time for Bitcoin to hit that $60,000 area, then it may trigger the prophetic marker where that's the time where we're going to see that large dump in prices. Either way, the whole point of the game right here is that this area becomes a very strong focal point. Okay, and in addition to all of that, it's still mid-phantom in this season. Okay, if it's mid-phantom in this season, and I'm going to show you why it's mid-phantom. Mid-phantom is the halfway level. Okay, it should actually be just a little bit higher than that. But this is about where mid-phantom is, okay? Now, when we have mid-phantom in the season, when we cross from one side to the other, the last place we cross over, we need to draw a flat line. And we can see that it's around these areas that price rejected around January all the way to September. So in the last year, we just rounded at this larger mid-phantom. And we've been going up ever since. I drew it for you guys in gray here, according to our first mid-phantom. I think this does need to come down just a little bit here, like that. Yeah. Okay, so this tells us with more certainty that, again, this is our channel. That's where we're playing at. That's where the story of Bitcoin is. So for us to come back up and challenge that blue line of 60K is not so far-fetched. It's actually very perfectly normal, which means that we may not need to be sweating the small stuff right now because we're still on our way up and we're still making higher highs. This is a monthly chart, but this is the story. Now this means it takes longer as things are happening, but things can move very quickly because we can see how quickly they've moved in the past. Now before we go on, I'm going to show you the second part, and there's going to be one other thing I'm going to show you about Bitcoin. Okay, we've been watching Bitcoin on a 6-hour chart, and I gave you guys this diagram. Hey, where's my parabolic? I had a parabolic. I have it on my phone, and it was about right here. Okay, so in our previous chart, you guys can see it. Just go on our website, type in BTC, and it's going to show up this image in one of our previous Bitcoin charts. And I drew this parabolic with these points right here. See these circle points right here? And as we connect it, we can see there's a bowed shape. There's actually one back here as well. But we can see this bowed shape moving here, and that means that the energy should end when we phase to this side. Okay, the positive energy phase. And I drew this arrow for you guys. You can see that I was expecting either a move up as a rejection here, or if we phase through, that means we're going to go down, and then we may come back down to some of the supports. Guess what? In the past, what is this? Over the past week, December 9th, today is the 18th. So in the past week, price did phase through. So Bitcoin had a bit of a pullback. Okay. Now, so Bitcoin had the pullback as expected. If there's a phase through, are we surprised or shocked? So far, is anyone shocked or surprised? Because I'm not. Okay. Now, if Bitcoin pulls back, we have a few supports to fall back on. Number one, we have a sword cut. Now, what is this sword cut? It's in orange. Okay, so I'm going to show you this sword cut in orange. What is this sword cut based on? If we go to the daily chart, that sword cut is based on this energy here, and I'm going to draw it for you. Okay. The energy from here and here, actually a little bit further back than that, because that big spike right here. Okay. As we look at what happened with price, we can see that we were bouncing along, and then all of that lost right there in that section. That's when the weakness entered. We should be going down, and the symbol we would draw underneath that line would have looked like that. Okay, so we can expect prices to go down in those areas, but it never came back to the sword cut. We drew a flat line right there, and that would have been the sword cut. We know from all of this that our sword cut needed to be approximately right there where we cut, and we draw that in orange. Okay, and the exact price is around 37,000 average, 37,418. Okay, so nothing new. We draw sword cuts all the time in sword method. All right, so we're waiting for some kind of response at that price, rejection, or support. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. Okay, I'm gonna delete some of these to hide these back. You guys need to answer. I'm gonna clear up my chart just a little bit. I'm teaching you how to read. Did we reject at sword cut? Did that happen? Yes or no? You guys want to know what's happening in the market? I'm explaining it.
No.
No, okay. If price is not really responding to sword cut, all it did was just slow down like right through. And it just pushed and made its way up. Is anyone here shocked then that we pulled back down, or pulling back down to sword cut or thunder cut? Is anyone shocked that we pulled back down? And
No.
And why not? Right? Why not? Why are we not shocked that we pulled back?
It's going to come down to confirm that it's in a
That's
position.
right. Price.
Now, if it falls through the sword cut, we're in trouble.
Yeah. And that's because price should respond somewhere to sword cut, either on the bottom as coming up, or on the top after breaking through. But somehow, some way or another, there should be if the sword cut, especially if the sword cut is strong enough, we should see a pullback to that. So it's almost like expected. We didn't get it on the way up. For the most part, we didn't get it. So then we should be getting on the way out as a price to sit down on. So one way or the other, we got to get some kind of response at that flat, because that's the collection of energy. It's really from here to here. Let me go back. About right here. Okay? But the sword cut's in the same spot. In addition to this, because we have such a downward trend, there's a thunder cut in that same area. It's not just a sword cut, but a thunder cut. And I drew it in yellow for you guys. Okay, 39,000. And so that's where we can see that price crosses through this area with difficulty, And now it's, now I can rest. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to rest before its next move up. Okay. This is important because you can't just, the market can't just pretend like a sword cut doesn't exist. Because it's a collection of energy. Now, call it what you will. It may even be called different things in different people's systems. But I never heard it or seen it taught. Okay? Until God showed me this. So if you guys see it, hey, praise God. Maybe God showed somebody else. But I never did. So I know that there's going to be something to that. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to take a few screenshots of these things. Of my notes and what I'm expecting. Because this is not shocking me and surprising me after we phase through on that daily chart. Now I'm going to show you two other things with Bitcoin. All right. There is something that happens powerfully when we see parabolics that are broken. Okay? When we see parabolics that are broken, price doesn't need to come back to sword cuts. Price can just come down straight right away. And that's something I teach in the parabolics modules that I've done over the last 2 years. I believe I included with sword method 1 through 5. That's how that works. Sometimes you get a pullback to a sword cut after a parabolic break, but you do not need one. And sometimes it's like you see them, sometimes you don't. But one thing it's important to note is that when you see the parabolic energy, you mark that when it's broken, because usually that means it's a change of behavior you're going to reverse. When examining the story of putting it all together as explained in lessons number 10 of Sword Method 5.0, we hunt the down move is a technique. Hunting the down move is a technique we do. If we know that the story is still bullish, up until here, at least the story's still bullish, then we know that we should be looking for when price is going the wrong direction. It's like a lion waiting to find his next meal. He's gonna search for the one that's the weak. Okay, and Bitcoin's such a big thing. I'm not even telling you guys to trade Bitcoin or anything, but if you know what's happening with Bitcoin, you got a good grasp on the market or the seasons. Look at this energy that we see. Does anybody know what type of energy we're seeing right now on this 6-hour chart on Bitcoin? Okay. Tell me what energy you guys are seeing right now.
The round action?
It's a type of round action.
A downward parabolic then?
That's right. It's a downward parabolic. Collect all the energy points. Let's make them yellow. Look at the smaller flow of price. If you collect all those energies, you see a trend that goes about this angle here. This is a downward parabolic. Which means that if this trend continues, we should only have until right about here that price has to make a decision. Oops, not that one. I'm going to show you where. Either here, this little spot, or if this continues, back to sword cut, even sword cut average. Heck, I'll even give you to the low, but it's all still within this period of time. What's the time on there? Does anybody know what the time that is? Look at on the bottom. If you guys don't know where to look, it's right there. Ring a bell? Alarm bell should be going off people's sound. December 24th, 2023. Christmas time. Which means... Are you guys hearing? Yeah. I hear it. I hear these laughing.
What the fuck y'all doing that? I got me choking a little shit, you know? This is crazy.
Okay. Now we can see that because of this, price may have a big move sometime before Christmas. Because all we're doing is hitting thunder cut. Sword cut, for the most part, is still hot. Which means Bitcoin may still go just a little bit lower. It's possible. And then we'll have our breakout. But the breakout almost is very likely to happen before Christmas. Because that's where price is either going to break to the downside and just not, which would be a failure of sword cut and no acknowledgement. But that's most likely not going to happen. What's most likely going to happen is you're going to break out of that parabolic and go up. But price can only play in here for so long before it gets squeezed out to one side or the other. Okay, price can only play so long before it has to make a decision up or down. Does everybody understand that? If it phases through, that's still bullish, because then you're on the positive side of the parabolic. So either way, you have to make a decision by Christmas. Now I'm going to put this in the notes here, and that's something I really want you to stress for people who are wondering about the timing for the next Bitcoin pump. We already had the first one. The next one is coming up. We can see there's a strong parabolic down move. Calculating the curve, we can see that price needs to make a decision by December 24th, 2023. A phase through is bullish. A breakout up is bullish. A move down would be a sword cut failure or SE failure, but that's very rare and not expected, because price did not reject sword cut up. I expected a pull back on top of it. This is very natural and can support much higher prices. Okay, if a building is going to go up into the sky, then you have to have a strong foundation deep, and the stronger the foundation, the higher you can build. That's how it is with price action. It's exactly the same. Okay, but at patreon.com, see Chartroom Ep157, December 18th. Okay, I'm going to delete some of this lines so we can keep things a little bit simple. And I'll get you a good picture for this, and I'll give you all the options. So this is delay territory right now, just wasting our time. It's our bullish breakout. There's the breakout to the downside. The time is December 24th. Okay, so we got no other questions about Bitcoin. The last thing I was going to show you, I took a screenshot of this early this morning, is if you look back here, where was it? Yeah. Was it? Which one was it? Ah, yeah, here. I may come back to this when we speak about a certain crypto today. This is an upward parabolic, okay? This is how this looks. When we collect all the energy centers and you see that breakout and price sit on top of that, this is the symbol that we always draw in this class. We know we're ready to go up. And price can do some very crazy things in a very short amount of time when you see that kind of structure. Okay? So parabolics are very strong. And I just want to give this as a little bit, it's not a really tutorial, but I just want to point something out, okay? Look what happened before the breakout, though. The energy is in place. But look how far we went down before that. We almost went straight down and right back up to that same area. What do we call that? Does anybody know what that's called in the markets? Where everybody's in a good position. People are buying. We can see the accumulation line. We actually know exactly where to get in, right? You're maybe in a buy position. You're waiting because you bought a little bit too early and you're still waiting. And then price goes way against you. And then you get out and it comes right back up. What? It's a certain name. You guys will... What is it? Correction?
Is it manipulation?
Manipulation. Not exactly manipulation, but it is a type of manipulation. Yeah, this is a very natural manipulation. This is the type that's been happening since the stock market days. Way back in the 1912. Okay. Or 1920s. What is it?
Shakeout.
Shakeout. That's right, CJ. It's a shakeout. They shake you out of the bag because you're a weak holder. If you bought say we bought right here before the break. We're here buying at the top of the market, and it goes against us. We're like, I'm just gonna get out, and they get out, and then all of a sudden it goes back up, and you go, what? No, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy back in, and then what it does is it wastes your time, and you're like, oh, it's not going anywhere, and then finally you get scared, and then it pumps up, and you're like, oh, okay, now I'll buy. And then it comes back down one more time. And you're like, oh no, I'm just gonna break even. I'm just gonna break even, and I get out right here where I'm just gonna break even. And then all of a sudden it goes to the moon, and you're like, what happened? What happened? And then you finally buy back again, and then it goes against you. See, this type of thing happens all the time in the market, and it happens to people who don't understand the story of what's happening. But if you guys can understand some of these larger energies that are moving in the markets, you'll see them miles in advance. You'll see them, and you'll learn how to be patient and sit on your hands. If I see this type of parabolic energy, I'm just going to simply wait. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because there's going to be there's a crypto that we've been watching that looks almost exactly the same. And I've been seeing this parabolic action like here. Okay, and if we get that breakout to the top side, that's the time to pull the trigger. Because that's when all the energy is going to be ready to go. But it's not ready. It's like cooking in the oven. Okay, so I just want to give you guys that little, to show you how that works. So when you see it, you look for it. Parabolic energy is a very easy energy to look at when using sword method. Okay. Alrighty, my friends. Oh, I have another Bitcoin map I was supposed to show you guys because I want to talk about Bitcoin so you have the grip on it. My other Bitcoin map, I have smaller targets based on the targeting system that we gave you guys back. These are the two main longer term targets for Bitcoin in our targeting system. They are, I believe, price may easily hit 45 and 51 area. Okay, the first one has already been hit. We hit there pretty very close to in that first bar, and it is a bar. We hit to the bottom side of that target. We pulled back. I think it was Mark who gave me a call that day. He says, I'm gonna call it. I'm like, I think there's more energy overall, but he was right about the shorter term target. Okay, the next one is going to be 51 areas. I believe that's going to be a target on the way up, and I do believe we're going to be hitting the other targets of the other resistances. This is not targeting system. I'm sorry. This is targeting system. This is not the map like I just showed you guys. So I do believe we're going to be hitting the $60,000, 61,000 area, almost at least. And this is just the targets along the way. So we may slow down at 5. We already slowed down at 44. Okay, 45. We got a raising hand from Denise. Go ahead.
Bless you, Jason. I just had a quick question.
Yes.
Regarding the buy-sell limit orders for the flash crash for BTC.
Okay.
Do you recommend those orders to be in US? I was told USDC, and then I was told USDC, and I'm wondering, what is your suggestion?
I've heard USDC, so if possible, USDC. My main concern is that USDT could be exposed during that time. I don't expect it to be exposed, but if things are going to start coming out, then it can be really exposed really quick. And anybody listening who does not believe what I just said, I want you to go and Google and research what happened to UST. Okay, UST. UST was a stablecoin that was trading just about the same as $1, and it went down almost to 5 cents. I think maybe a little bit lower than 5 cents. And so it's possible that our stablecoin USDT could also do the same thing. So anybody who has money and reserves during these events, you could see some crazy stuff. We already saw that many of these stablecoins have depegged from the dollar. That means they were trading 1-1, but on the chart now they started trading at 97 cents. 98 cents, 99 cents, 99 point something, but they never went back to $1. Why? If they have the exact same value as $1, they should be at $1. And it's because they do not have the same value as $1. There's something going on. There's something nefarious going on, and I don't expect them to all survive the regulations. But the prophetic community, like Denise has just said, has been praying, and they feel, by and far, every time someone prays about it, they're feeling a lot of peace about USDC. I also have heard similar and from our own people in our community who have put the matter before the Lord. And I think that means that, and I feel a lot of peace about USDC. I believe that USDC is going to survive a little bit longer than USDT. I can't say it's going to survive forever. Yeah. So we need to be all on top of the situation. We're going to use these as means to an end. Tether is a means to an end. So I think there's enough information that people have not been warned about USDT yet. I'm not really seeing a consensus about people who've been warned. Yeah. So I think that means that USDT or Tether is going to survive the current flash crash. Yeah. But I believe that some kind of regulations are going to come, and I believe they're going to be imposed around the time of gold standard. So when gold is reintroduced, which means the second wave of the wealth transfer. Yeah. Wave 1 beginning in this season, and the wave 2 going to be sometime after gold is implemented, I believe.
So then USDT may survive the flash crash, which is the first portion of the wealth transfer.
I believe it may, but we are becoming risky if we do.
Yeah. And what's the difference between USDC and USD?
USD?
Yeah.
Or do you mean Tether?
No, I've seen USD also in some of the exchanges.
Oh, USD is just our fiat dollar.
I was wondering that. Okay, that makes sense completely.
But that's going away too after gold comes back.
That makes sense. Thank you, bro.
And it makes sense logically. If the dollar falls, that's going to be the time when all of these coins that are not pegged to the dollar, they have a way out. And some of them imagine this, okay? Just a sec. Just for one moment. Imagine somebody has a bank and you all put your money with the bank, but they actually spent your money. On paper, they say, oh yeah, all your money's here. 1 for 1 of what you deposited. We have that. And you say, okay, great. If something ever happens, you can withdraw all of your money. It's there in the bank. But really, that's not the truth. They've spent your money. It's not there. They've given it out. And now what happens is, if they go away and you were to knock on the door, hey, open up. I heard rumors that you don't have all the money, that it's not really worth what we think it is. They're going to be sweating bullets, right? They're sweating bullets right now if they're about to get caught. But then if the dollar collapses, because our current financial system, all the story of the path of where that's going, the crash of the dollar happens, and now the dollar's like worthless. USDT could easily adjust the books to make that on value with that worthless money. Okay, they can easily adjust themselves to just say, and then they'll open up the door. See, I told you it's worth this much. And they're like, well, I guess you're right. But the truth is that there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think they would almost want and expect it. In fact, I believe because they know they expect it, they all know what's coming. They all know that the dollar's going to crash. They all know that we're not trading the US dollar in oil, that the world is no longer playing through the OPEC dollar. They're not playing through the, what is it called? The dollar that was bound to oil, the petrodollar. The world is not playing the United States game anymore. They did for a number of years since the 1960s. And now the world is slowly moving away from the dollar, forming their own clubs, and they're just like, forget you, America. And that's what's happening. The first oil was purchased last year without the dollar for the first time in so long. And so that means that the way of the world is changing, and that's going to accelerate the collapse of the dollar. And because of that, all the financial institutions, they're just like sticking it to the oil. All the politicians are sending billions of dollars and funding it back to themselves. They're doing all of those things because they know that it's collapsed. They're printing trillions because they just know that the game is broken. So you might as well just do whatever you want before the game's over. And so don't be surprised if you see more of that. But that's a conversation for another day. All right. So I said what I needed to say. Keep your eye on that parabolic for Bitcoin, because that's the parabolic to the downside, which means the next bullish up move is very soon. Okay, very soon. Watch that breakout. You only got till December 24th for price to either break to the downside or to the top side. And I think you're going to break to the top side. Okay? December 24th. Christmas. All right. There's one other thing we're going to look at next, and that's USDT, and then we'll get to our normal program.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, say it.
Regarding the tether? this came out from the horse's mouth, the president, the CEO of Tether, that the United States government, FBI, CIA agents do have access to that platform. And that's because of the whole money laundering thing. They're trying to clean that up. So just so you guys know, the government is involved, is in cahoots with Tether.
If they have access to it and they're not doing anything about it, yep, that's a big giveaway. They are in cahoots.
What do you mean by the whole money laundering thing? And I apologize. I've been gone the last couple of months. I've had multiple surgeries, so I've been.
Did you recover well?
Oh my gosh, God is done, and I'll have to share my testimony later. But yeah, I'm still going through a little bit of the end of some things, but I've seen God's hand also. It's been a journey, by all means.
I remember when we last spoke. I remember when we last spoke last in our conversation. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, Denise.
Thank you so much. What do you mean by?
Yeah, glad you're back. Yeah, the government is cleaning up. There's a lot of talk that this coin is being used for nefarious things and stuff like that. So that's why the government is involved now in trying to clean this thing up. But once the government is in there, you can
clean up, huh?
There's two sides. There's the corporation government, and there's you guys will learn. There's a lot of stuff to the story.
The second one?
Yeah. The second one that's it's beyond the scope of our program today, but we do discuss things like that in after class. It's not something I think the masses are ready to hear or even accept, but there's a lot of evidences that point to this absolutely being the case. We do know there's the United States Corporation of America. We can tell easily just by any time you turn on the TV, you'll see yellow fringes around the flag. And according to flag law, that's illegal. That's a type of corporation. Wow. It's not the United States that we know and love. And wasn't always the case, but we moved over to a corporation years ago. Our Federal Reserve is not federal. It's just a company. Like it's all a banker situation. So we're seeing two sides. And because we have a community like ours, we do have to speak in duality. Sometimes we have to speak in what's happening in the picture, but then there's actually the real story that's building or happening in stages under the scene that takes several years. And I don't blame anybody for being in any part of that spectrum. It's just,
Yeah, wow.
And also earlier, Denise, you mentioned about USDT having low buy orders and USDC and USD. I personally, this is just me, I have them in all three.
I was wondering that.
Because I'm a big believer of diversification, and we don't know who's going to come on top on this.
Yeah.
If it's going to be at the end USDT, USD, or USDC. Which USDC is everyone is giving the A-OK. I usually don't follow the masses. I'm usually the guy that takes another turn, because when I see all the masses running to one area, I'm a little suspect to that as well. So just diversify. If you still have it, just keep it. It's not going to hurt, and especially if you already prayed up on it. Hope that helps.
Confirmation, actually.
I'm hearing talks of Sora being used as a stable coin. And some of the evidences are being sent to me, some information is being sent to me, that Sora is actually going to be a stable coin. It's known as XOR, right? Or XORA, something like that. But it has a...
XOR.
XOR. Yeah. And because of that, it's one of the X coins. Usually when you see X, it means it's a type of backed currency. So we're going to need to devolve more into that and look into some things like that. But as far as regulations go and the newest ISO standard, I believe that we're going to see that be the case. It's very possible. But is that the time and seasons for now? I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's look at USDT for a little bit. We've been waiting for pullbacks underneath these areas. Got one here, small one. Then we got a large one at 6.52. The next one I was expecting is 608, and then from here I'm expecting a lane down all the way to here. This crypto is the measure of the dominance of the United States Tether. Okay, when Tether money's infused and loses its, so to speak, loses its power, it's not that the power is being lost, it's that the money's being shifted into Bitcoin. This USDT has been used. A lot of evidences have came out that this is over the years. that this is used to pump money into Bitcoin and to prop it up. And that's how a lot of the manipulation that we've noticed as far as Bitcoin moving the market has played out. And I think the main reason is because the money that's used for Bitcoin, not so much the utility, but the money, the purposes. When countries are paid or moved and policies are made and we send billions or trillions of dollars to countries like Ukraine and all that stuff, there's been evidences that have came out from certain members of the community, not our community, but other members, that have showed all the money trail. And we can see that money going into crypto and primarily into Bitcoin, and then that money being funneled back into United States. And I have to be careful talking about that because Prophet Robin told us we got to be careful talking about it, how it works. But basically there's some type of washing that is happening. You guys know the word. And we saw this with certain individuals who go by the name of, that sounds a lot like Ram Minkman Mead. Okay, we saw some of that situation going out. And so there's a flow of money that's going back into the hands of those who are sending it out. It's all the game. Therefore, a lot of that money is primarily shifting between USDT, which is the stable coin, or it's something like the dollar, but it's not the dollar. It's just something that's like the dollar and has the same value as the dollar. And that money going back and forth between Bitcoin to control, to reap rewards, to do a lot of things. And that game is going to end one day, but not now. Okay. Right now, we're going to see a large move down. So when this chart goes down, Bitcoin goes up. And I don't see anything on this map that tells me I should be worried about the next Bitcoin pump not happening. Okay, I don't see anything on this map telling me that I have some kind of worries to do. In fact, I'm really excited about this flat because we have major points of energy here and here. And we never tested this flat after we went to the sky, did we? Nope, we did not. The only thing that happened after we hit all of those, the only thing that happened, we never came back, is that we started going down and we basically broke to the downside. So even if I didn't have the Tiger calculation, which I do, so I can read it in slow motion, but even if I didn't have the Tiger calculation, I can see that once we go past this point right there, that we should be going back down to our safety net. So this tells me Bitcoin is going to go up almost with a dead certainty. So I'm not sweating bullets, and I don't want you guys to sweat bullets too. But because we have the Tiger calculation, we can see all the individual stages that have to happen for that to happen. Now, I already given you guys this in the past, so I've told you guys this chart many times, but this is the simplistic story for people who don't understand what's happening. Okay. We can see this all being the case. Okay. One weakness, 2 weakness, 3 weakness, and that's where price is pulling back right now. Okay. This is exactly what we're expecting. Okay. And when we get here to this number, 4.97 to 4.73, when we get there, I'm expecting prices to reverse on us heavily. Okay, really heavily, which means I expect a very large down move. I wouldn't be surprised if when this goes down here, Bitcoin will be K area. 61,000 is what I actually have. Okay, so this area equals Bitcoin 61K. And I've been measuring this chart for the past years. Okay, I think I'm good with this chart. I think I'm almost an expert at this chart. I almost want to say that. If there's one chart I think I'm really good at, I think it's this one. And this is a daily chart. But you can look at the weekly and it's the same chart. What time frame? Let's see. What does the theme time frame look like? When do you think we'll get there? Oh, okay. What does the theme time frame look like? When do you think we'll get there? I think All right, let's break this down just a little bit further. So in this section, we already have everything needed for the pullback, which means if you guys want to watch this carefully, let's go down to a 12. I think you all know what to draw. Does anybody know what to draw here? If price going upward is the wrong direction. Anybody know? How should
I guess it's gonna come down from that line, not get above it.
Yeah, I mean, we could spike. We already challenged at 1 and 2, but we need to be, basically the answer is going to be this. We're going to collect these two energy centers. When price goes below there, it's time. Okay, it's time. Primarily, okay. This is going to be the first analysis, which means I believe it's going to happen sometime, let's see, when is the time frame? Before January 5th. Okay, this is January 5th. What am I doing? I got to call outs. I don't think it's going to take that long at all. Because these things can move. But I'm just saying price could waste our time and be manipulated up to January 5th. Which we don't really have to do a call out, but... Okay. Jan 5th. So this can't continue forever. I also want to show you one other thing about this chart. Oops, that's not the picture I want to take. Draw the arrow. This is one possible option. And then it should actually look like that. That's the down move. That's what I'm expecting. It must happen before January 5th. Either a failure, and I was wrong, which I don't think I am because it's already responded 2 times. And I knew those numbers in advance months ago. The other thing that's going to happen is going to look like this. And does this look, and somebody tell me if this looks familiar. For time's sake, I'm going to draw it for you. Does this look familiar to you?
It's the opposite of the BTC chart.
Yep, that's right. If you flip it upside down, it almost looks the same. Let's look at our BTC chart. You guys seeing what I'm seeing? Okay. These things run in tandem.
Why do you say before January?
Well, because that's the foundational areas of here and here. If you continue it out, price could just bounce and bounce and play in this time all the way up to here, and then it has to squeeze out to the top or squeeze out to the bottom. It cannot play in this little, it's like bouncing around this little spot, but it doesn't have any more space to go. It has to make a decision by January 5th. The time frame we're looking is generally December. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. What does this mean if we continue here and just follow this curve? I'm going to borrow this one. What can we decipher? Here's the sword cut price is best. I'm sorry, the tiger line that this is bouncing on. Let's turn off the inversion. Okay. What is the date for here? Oh. December 20th. Okay. So that puts more emphasis that a move will happen sometime or around January 20th or December 20th. Christmas week is when we can see that next confirmation of breakout, and it shouldn't be so much farther after that we could see a run. Because I don't just see the flat here, I see this. Confirmation is this. Some people are going to buy right when we phase through that yellow parabolic. Okay, that means when price comes and crosses that side, that means this one's going to go quickly. But confirmation could be just waiting until we get to the top. I don't even think you need that. I think the confirmation was this that we calculated months ago. Okay. So that's what I see. And I'll give you guys that. Okay. USDT.D. When that chart goes down, crypto, Bitcoin goes up. How much longer are we going to be playing in here? Only a few more days. How many candles can you fit in here? Today's the 18th. Today's the 18th. That means in about 2 more days, we may see a pump on Bitcoin, or sometime after, between the 20th to 23rd. And that match up with some of the prophetic intel we're hearing? This is what I see in the data. God hasn't given me a specific date, but I did have dreams that the banks were forced to play Santa Claus. And I think that's really Christmas theme, and I'm not the only person that God gave these Santa Claus weird dreams, and I had these back like in early in the year. So people who are expecting the first wave of wealth transfer, the data is supporting that. You'll see another move up, and we heard prophetically that Luna Classic will have a decline when Bitcoin hits 55. Bitcoin's only at 40-something, 40,000. That means I believe there's still more to come on Luna Classic. Some of these cryptos are just in position. They're just popping off. So I think that we're going to see a lot of bullishness coming up in the next few days. It's very possible. This within 7 days. Okay.
Is it worth taking a really quick look at it on 4 hour, 1 hour, just to see what like the macro move is? Just because there's some talk about 38K, and obviously
For Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And has that target for XDC? I think that's 38 also, and I think it's at something like 44 right now or something. So I'm just wondering if you're able to see if we might head down to 38 now or not from looking at that.
Let me hide this. Measuring the old lows, if you're going to hit that low number, I would be looking at... Okay. I would be looking at these here. The other thing I would be looking at, see if you can find a consistency just in this small run here. Okay. Let me fade this away. Let's give that a color. Let's make it green. Clone that out. Bring it out to the energy center, which is here. You're cracking below. That's a sign that there's still more time for you to go lower. Okay. So we may still go lower. Yeah. Don't be surprised if we hit 38K, because 38K is sword cut on the downside. 38. But yeah. Still more bearishness, possibly in the next 2 days.
Okay. Would it potentially...
That's a 3-hour chart.
Bitcoin, right? Could it potentially just wake up again like it did before, where that yellow dot is?
Yeah.
And then come back again to...
See, because the only support Bitcoins have hit so far is right here, and that is, show you, Thundercut. Okay, Thundercut, the centralization of that energy. But the sword cut area has not been hit just yet. We didn't hit it coming down yet. We didn't hit it going up. We just went right. We did hit it on the low side, but just for a few moments, right? And then we just started going through, and it shot straight up through it. So now our first real pullback, after shooting straight through it, needs to be back here, which means we're almost there. Now this could all happen in 1 day, and I don't want you guys to be scared when Bitcoin goes back to 38. Okay. Some of these cryptos are going to get one more chance for people to get one low price, and don't be surprised. I showed you guys that dream about that Saint Lamisaird, about going through a valley of green, and then he went to a deep valley. He was told not to worry. He still had perfect peace, and it wasn't even that deep, but it was a valley. And then after that, he ascended right back up to the forest into a new higher hill. And he said, I believe this is related to the markets, that God's saying, don't worry about you going just a little bit lower. And I can see that in the map. This is a 3-hour chart.
Yeah, brilliant.
So this may happen over the next 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see a pattern on one of the charts of it just rounding back up again a little bit like it did before, where that yellow dot is. So just pushing a touch higher now to maybe 1% or so. Rounding down again, and then dumping to maybe 38.9 or something.
So
we'll see.
So as we conclude these talks and discussions about Bitcoin USDT, showing you all the moves and everything like that, if you missed it, I want you to rewind and watch this part once the video is posted later today. I want you guys to have peace, because these are the things that we can see as being the natural progression of price. And because of all of these things, I'm very excited. It's only up until a certain time that price has to make a decision. We know that to be on December 24th. So you may see prices low and take a break from trading if you want to. Watch a Christmas special if you want. If you're day trading this, there may be some shorting opportunities, but this is a 3-hour chart. So you gotta have to do it quick intraday. If you're shopping or you're out, be careful. Don't trade if you can't get back to your chart, or if your phone is not charged, okay? Or you can't trade from your phone. Don't do that kind of stuff. But other than that, just have a break. It's the natural progression for price to pull back after not responding to the underside of that sword cut. And that's a strong sword cut. Okay, it's really strong. Anyway, I'm open for one last questions before we conclude. Otherwise, after January 24th, you guys are going to see, or after December 24th or before, you may see 55? The next wave of wealth transfer. 60. I don't see 55. I got 61 as my target on one. This isn't the chart that shows the target. This is what shows the flat, and it's 61,000 to 60, the high of 67. Okay,
wow,
but that's if we clear this areas and get past 67, I almost know for certain we're going to 204,000 on Bitcoin. But I don't think that's actually going to happen. But there's potential for that. I think something's going to happen between there. And then the other chart that we had for Bitcoin is the target chart, which shows the targeting system. And those are 53 for the high side, 50,000 for the low side, average of 51. So somewhere around 51,000 is where I think we're going to next on the bus. But because of the USDT.D clear lane that we have all the way to here, Bitcoin has a chance to scream past through those areas. It has a chance to just whoom, and you'll see, whoa, what happened? And we may hit 55 just real quick. We may hit 61 real quick without even stopping. Okay, you guys hear what I'm saying?
You know that word that the Lord gave me, that it says 45 and 10 is the word. I believe that 55 is like a benchmark. That here we go. Mm-hmm. And then, because I heard him say 55 and then later on say 55, 60. Then the other day, I don't know if you saw it in the group that I posted, that I could hear, it was like clacking in the spirit pump, and was for BTC. I don't know if you saw it in the chat, but I posted, I even put a picture of a well rig that pumping.
Wow.
I heard like a pump and like a full pump. It was amazing because I could hear the clacking and like the steel hitting each other. It was very vivid in my eyes and in my ears. And that's when Bitcoin started to come down a little bit. So I know that's why I'm saying this, because you're confirming what the Lord showed me.
I do have a concern, and I'm going to express my honesty, so pray that the Lord speaks to me about this. If Bitcoin pumps, crypto prices will go to where they should be as far as a map goes. But there are these times when some of these smaller coins are just hitting numbers even off their charts and going into completely new territories. But Bitcoin stops pumping. It's possible that as people or as money is coming into that some people are either just moving money into some of these coins because they're like, oh, look at Doge is pumping, and they start following Doge or whatever meme coin or whatever, something obscure coin during the market movements. It's also possible that it's just the time for some of these to hit their prophetic numbers that they heard, and you'll see these smaller coins just hit astronomical numbers for even just for a small time. You'll see them hit, and that's not dependent on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is like a gate. Okay, I think it's like a door. When the door's open, it's like they're gonna shoom and do what they're supposed to do, but what they're gonna do may be beyond what we can see on the map. And I think that's gonna happen. So some of these coins may start doing those things now. Like they've been waiting and waiting. Mother, may I? Mother, may I? And then Mother finally gives up. Okay, you can run now. It's going to be an up market. And then we're going to see a run. And I think there's a lot of manipulation behind all of that. That's too much to get into. But I believe that you're going to see some of these altcoins just go up. Some of our smaller coins just do crazy numbers like we've already started to see. Such as the next one, Sanctuary. Okay, so let's look at Sanctuary on the website, dextools.io. We can go to the little search bar up right here at the top, and we're going to type in SANC. And I'm looking for the one with the highest liquidity. It's basically the same, but it's in this one, top one, right? There's only one here. And it's in wrapped BNB. So I can't tell you the United States dollar price, but I can show you what the map would look like. Up here where it says 5 minutes, I'm going to change that right now first to a daily chart and see if there's data that it shows. Okay. And basically this is the chart. Let's go a little bit further to maybe a 12-hour chart. And that'll be good enough. Okay, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the full screen button, which is somewhere right about there. See it? Okay, now I'm going to delete that. We're going to click that full screen, and now we have a chart we can work with. Okay. Now these shapes are all over the place. I don't trust the shapes, but we'll do our best. I'm going to open up this photo, duplicate it out. Now I have two photos. I'm going to edit one, clicking on the little edit button on my iPad. And now I can draw on this chart. We can see something here that we had around action here. And there's a reason I'm going to point out this. Here's our energy center. Here's another energy center. And here's the bottom one. When I connect those dots, it gives me the key angle. And then I can draw the exact same angle. It would be as my phantom angle. Okay, so KA, PA. If I'm drawing it more accurately, it's going to look like this. And I'll show you why I'm doing this in the past so far. Let's give it a color. Let's make it a little thinner. I have 1, 2, and 3 points of energy that we're collecting. That's great. And when moved here, we can see that price was coming to the underside of here. If you want to give the full range, you can. But what we can see is that price should have rejected here and gone down. It did not. It should have rejected on the underside and gone down. In fact, all it did was just come back to the low high and flirt in this area. It didn't come down. No. So that means that it's actually the opposite, bullish. What you can do is block out that area as an area of consolidation. Okay. That's out a little rectangle shape. Okay, it would look like that. So we can see now that what price actually did was go to the top side. So when you see this energy and it's not resolved, that's actually bullish, okay? Because it did not come down, that's bullish. So watch these areas for what price did not do what it's supposed to do, and it's flirting, and we talk about flirting a lot. That usually means that price is going to do the exact opposite. All right, so that's actually a sign of bullishness for Sanctuary token on this 12-hour chart. And that's good because that means there's still more possible to come. There may be something we want to do here, and I'm going to double check these bottoms by connecting this energy from here. Let me show you now what I'm going to do next on Sanctuary. I'm going to check this energy from here to here, and all of that energy here, the last energy centers. I'm going to connect those, and when we connect those, we can now bring it to the major energy center up here between that point. Let me use a different crayon so you guys can see what I'm doing. Let's use blue. Okay, round energy, larger round energy here, 1, 2, and then 3 would be the energy center between those. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now let's see what we got because a larger story is unfolding. Let's erase this. And I hope you guys are learning as you're watching me do this over my shoulder. Once you have enough skill, you can actually do this yourself. And some of you can already start attempting. Okay. Now watch what I'm about to draw because this one's important. Did you see it? When I drew it here at this circle, price pulled back here to that area. So we call this a verification. Price bounced, therefore, exactly where it should have bounced. Correct? Price bounced where it should have bounced. And therefore, we now have a higher degree of certainty that when we duplicate that angle here, where we're supposed to, we can now know where the top of Sanctuary is, or where the next bullish entry of Sanctuary would be, or where to take profit. I'm going to be pretty accurate as I can. Let me try to go to this side. All right, there we go. All right, need to be a little bit higher because I'm drawing real thick. All right, there it is. Okay, so now we have a top for Sanctuary. And then we can have a price for a Sanctuary. If price shoots up today, that price is going to be anywhere between right here. Let's see what it's going to be. Let me get a little bit thinner and use a white. This is really good. I'm glad because I have some Sanctuary. Sanctuary. No Sanctuary for you. The governor's out looking for you. You can't come in here. 701. Okay, 701 is what we can see as going to be the price that we would be looking to take profit, and that number will go higher the longer it takes. Okay, so if price takes a long time going up and then we finally get up here, that number is going to be somewhere at 7/15 or so. You guys understand that principle? That's why you guys need to draw your own map. But here's how you can draw the map. So we know that at least it's going to be 0.0701 plus. Okay. Any other questions about Sanctuary on my take with Sanctuary right now? Okay. Let's put some commentary. This good? Hope you guys are learning. We can see that Sanctuary is still bullish, and based on the phantom and key angle, the current target is at least 0.070, or should put the 701. Okay. And let's put a date for that. See Chartroom Ep157, December 11th, 18th. And no other questions then for Sanctuary? Okay, I'm going to save that image for you guys. And you know what my take is. Hallelujah. Volt. All right. I was looking at Volt this morning, and Volt responded to our target of the step up, by the way. And there is a step up there. And there's step ups probably on Sanctuary. If you guys want to draw them, go ahead and draw them. We drew this step up here, but our chart at the time on Saturday was a little bit dangerous. And I told you guys, I said, hey, look, we need this close right above here. Okay, on Saturday I told you guys, hey, we need the close above here. And it was looking good, but we didn't get the close. So I said, hey, wait for a pullback. And then by the time we were still in class, we were still in session number 2, it was already pulling back right to here to the purple line. I said, watch that purple line. because we may get a pullback down to that purple line. In the actual class, on the actual smaller charts, it may have looked like this. And this is, people are saying, oh, look, the breakout already happened. But you got to be careful with this one, because on the daily chart, we had not closed yet. And how many of you guys shouted it out? I was like, I'm so proud of you guys. Remember, I would tell you, I'm so proud of you guys. Everybody shouted. Somebody said, should we buy Volt right now? And 6 people shouted, no, we got to wait for the candle to close. Well, look at the candle's closing of that day. That candle did not close above that line. And I had drew that white line for you guys. You guys saw it. You all knew. Okay, so nobody, but I was so proud that you guys were paying attention, you were listening, because that means it's not all ready to go for Volt. In fact, there's a little bit of danger here, because Volt already broke above here and hit that target up in the sword cut area, all within just a single day. So I drew this for you. I said, hey, it's very likely now you're going to get a pullback to the purple line. But look how much quickly it happened. It happened just within one day. We went to the purple line, and that's it. Now we're watching the purple line for the rejection, and we're watching the purple line to see if we can find an entry. But somewhere around here is what we're expecting. And the reason we're expecting is because it's a longer standing line. Okay, now at the very least it has a foundational area here, but it was brought to my attention this morning that there's some manipulation going on in this chart. Something's not right, because when I pull up a 6-hour chart, I can see clearly on November 10th, price spiked up to 0, all these zeros, 68, which would have been the third confirmation for price responding to that purple line. 1, 2, 3. But on a daily chart, that third point vanishes completely. Something's not right. I don't see any spike here. It's almost 3 did not happen. Okay. Now that's telling me something's wrong. And there's something shady going on. I don't know what it actually is. But that's not right. I was like, before class, I was like, what? And somebody shoot me an email too. They were like, hey, Jason, I didn't see my lines. My lines just adjusted. And I said, oh, I had that problem on Luna Classic a long time ago. But I said, if try doing this and such, and if you still see it, then it's probably something more nefarious. And this is another example of that happening in real life. Okay, so anyway, back to Luna Classic. I'm sorry, back to Volt. As we see, Volt is not ready to go. Let's go down to a smaller time frame and see if we can find where an entry might be. Let's go to a 6-hour, and I don't see any where there's no entry. And let's go down to all the way down to a 2-hour just to save some time, and I still don't see an entry. Okay, so I'm seeing shapes that are just price is not respecting the purple line. It's like acting like it's not there. Yes.
Christian is saying that if you could check it on Mexi, that it has more trading data.
Okay. Before I go into it, I would say watch today's close to see if we go back up. Otherwise, we're going to need a setup. And that means there's going to be more time. We may have a few more days, but we may see price have to build a case. And once we have a clear trend, then we can see where the breakout would be. But because of that, I would expect one more response to purple line, either in the future or now. Because if I'm just seeing prices going up and through it, but it had a strong foundation to it, then sometime in the future this has to be activated, which means something else is pushing prices down. And it could be that the step up is really strong, like it should be, right? That's our step up, so that's where our target is. And we hit there, right? We hit there from... This was the trade from here to here. We showed that. I showed you guys all that. Remember this big old arrow I showed you guys? I said, that's where we're going. But just because we're passing through it today doesn't mean we're going to have what it takes to continue on. But that was the target, and some people reported they were able to get target profits right here at sword cut, and some people, others, got profit right there at the step up. I hope you did well with your Volt trade. And I don't think it's all over just yet. I think there's still more on the table. I think we're actually going to still hit 0.14, but maybe not soon. Okay, so I'll look at this on another chart just real quick. But as it is, I don't have an entry for you. And as it is, I do not have, I can see that the move is already over. Okay, complete.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
On that, do you remember when we were talking before you said when you said 55, I had written in on the messaging.
Yep.
Was that, what 55 was that? Do you remember? Was it like losing a zero or just 55 up? It was on your chart.
For Volt?
Was it Vault? Or was it?
Are you thinking of something else?
No, I'm pretty. Was it Vault? Soup, you there? Marco?
Maybe.
Oh, the step up. Yeah, the step. Wait.
Yeah, 55. It was the 55 was the number.
Okay.
On Volt.
There may be a trade above the key angle, green. Okay, previous complete entry, complete. 30 cents to exit at 55. Okay, so I had an exit at 55 from December 9th. So, yeah, that's been hit.
And you also had one at 48 also. There's 48 and 55 were your two numbers that were sitting up there.
This is 55 here, okay, in white, at the top, right there.
Okay.
So that's your good job.
I just wanted to make sure, because I believe that 55, this is why I'm saying it, I believe 55 is a benchmark for this coin. This is the word from the Lord. Everything's a benchmark. He's giving us something that we can look at and read it from his perspective. And you understand it because you read the charts and you get downloaded stuff. And for whatever reason, he just keeps giving me fives. And I believe that it could go up to 55 cents, and then he keeps telling me $5. When is that going to happen? I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know. I'm just saying it. But 55 is a benchmark. And it's double blessing because it's 5-5. 5 is favor.
It doesn't have to be $55.
And 5 plus 5 is 10. 10, perfect 10.
And Prophet Robin did say it would lose 6 zeros, so he was showing like $1. He said that 6 months ago or something.
Zeros?
Yeah, about 6 months ago. This is when I got the kittens. Remember, I brought Healthy home. And when I came home that night, brought him home. Then that's when Robin did the Volt. He said, "Hey, I got a new crypto called Volt. I think it's Bolt or Volt." And they figured out it was Volt. And he said, "The Lord said 6 zeros will go away."
We have 6 zeros right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So if you move the decimal 6 times, it would be, if it was like 1 0, it was just that 1.
Yeah.
Which isn't that high yet, but it was right around 1 when he did it.
That's 55 cents.
If I moved 6 zeros over, it was going to be $1.
Wow.
Move the decimal 6. Yeah, I remember that. So he did the math, figured it out, and said $1.
So do you see it sitting at 55 for a little bit? Or do you see it going up?
Absolutely. That's
what I'm seeing. That's what I feel. That's what I'm seeing.
And the reason for that, I don't have the entry yet. We have to wait, but I'll tell you this. That's the step up. So on this chart, do you see the arrow that I have right now?
No, I gotta put my eyeglasses.
Okay.
Hold on. And make it bigger. Because I can't.
Well, it's with the highlight color, so I don't know what to tell you, Jenny.
Okay.
So the biggest I got, the biggest thing.
I made it bigger on my
Okay, so 55 cents is right here. I'm going to make it really big. Do you see 55 on there? Okay, this that I'm moving around, that's 55.
Yes,
this is what I see, though. Okay, do you see it's in the same 55 area? This big arrow? Okay, yes. I expect to hit sword cut at 8.1, and I expect us to properly hit the purple line. Sometime, I believe we're going to hit that purple line properly. If anything, we're going to hit the step up, which is that big gray bar that is the one that I had as our target to hold price down. That held price down, it worked. It's done. So the next resistance that we the next support we would have is if we break above that area, which means that if we break above right now, we would be pulling back to about 55 cents. Okay, so if we can get up to 81, we're going to pull back to the top side of that resistance. So right now, we're going up, we're hitting it, and coming down. But next time we break above, we're going to come back down and sit on it, and then we can go up. Okay, so I drew that in yellow here.
I hear 5-5 bye-bye. 5-5 bye-bye.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. So
Don't mind the low. Just keep buying. For those who like Vault.
and that's good because if you're hearing a time and a number to buy, okay, so she said, listen, let's just hear the logic of this, because somebody had a prophetic word that was similar. They saw that they were supposed to buy Bitcoin at a higher price, basically, and the person said it doesn't really make sense. And they told me this on Sunday after WordRoom, and I said it's because it's possible because of the prophetic markers. Other cryptos are supposed to run first in the first season, and Bitcoin and XRP will be last. And then there's another event of wealth transfer. I believe XRP will be first. I can see that in the data. I can see that in Intel, and that matches some parts of the prophetic community. And so I said, it's possible that if you buy everything right now, you may miss the wealth transfer with some of these other coins that you were supposed to be in, which would have been seed money for maybe that XRP event. And so if you buy it right now or have all your money in there, you may miss what's going to happen because you're all just, I'm just waiting for the big one. Okay, you can wait for the big one, but some people are going to be popping off as millionaires overnight because they're hitting, some of these coins are hitting prophetic targets. If Volt hits $1, many of you are going to be millionaires, like almost overnight. Okay, people who are waiting for the dinars to revalue, the Kuwaiti dinar valued years ago, and billionaires were made overnight. And you're saying, I'm going to wait for the big one. I'm waiting for the Iraqi dinar. Okay, but you may have missed that. So if you can buy now, and that's okay for some, but some people are going to be called to ride some of these waves and to watch in sequence. If Janae is hearing this, that, hey, 55 buy, and right now the price is 45. And because Bitcoin's going down right now for up until the 24th week of December, we can see that it may not be the time to go up again. We hit our target and there may be people taking profit at this 55, 56 area, okay? Somewhere the high 61, low 57. Somewhere around there is her 55 number. So this is right for price to pull back, and it could play down. Price is going down and could continue going down for a bit until another setup happens and there's another entry. So right now this means that Volt is not ready. Okay, that's what that basically means. Volt is not ready, but it may be ready, and 55 is a number when we should be buying because it means time, not price. It means time. Does that make sense to everybody? If you're hearing, hey, I need to buy the XRP when it's at $1, that doesn't make sense. I should buy it at 40 cents. It's a lot more cheaper. But it may not move until it hits $1. Then it moves up to a very high number. That's just an example. And if you're hearing 55, that means it could waste our time until it hits 55, and then it's ready to move. So you could be diverting your attention elsewhere, or just watching for a price to hit that 55. An easy thing you can do is set a little marker, a little timestamp. The little alert. There's a little clock at the bottom of your screen, and it looks like this. See that little clock? I'll save that image so you guys have it. If you click that little clock, there's another one in blue, and you can do this. Click the blue marker here, and then it's going to say create an alert on Volt. We can put this when price crosses, and then click on this area over here in blue, and you're going to put the number, leave all the zeros on there, but you're going to put 55. Okay, and then I'm going to put buy Volt. For me, I'm just putting buy Volt. And then in the notes here, I'll say prophetic intel, if you want to. Volt may have a move soon. Long term, $1. So now, if I'm watching my iPad and I pull up my trading view, the first thing that's going to happen is there's going to be an alert. And it's going to say, hey, you need to look at Volt. I'll say, okay, Volt's at $1. And until then, Volt could be wasting my time just bouncing up and down in this area until we have another setup. I don't have the setup for you, so I can't draw it right now. Okay. All right. So anyway, we can see price has hit its step up target and its main sword cut close to 81 area. Profit is being taken at these areas. There is no other entry I see at the moment, and that goes for the smaller time frames too. Okay, I believe Volt may cool off for a bit before getting a new entry. Price should still respond to the purple line in the future. I am bullish Volt longer term, but not immediately at the moment. Okay, that's what I have for Volt, and this is from today's episode. Any other questions, Volt?
Yep.
Yeah.
As it goes down, this is what I hear. Buy $10 here, buy $10 there. And those $10 will go over there. That's what I'm not poetic at all. No matching, no nothing, because I suck at that. I gotta have some. He's funny, I gotta tell you. He's so funny. I felt ridiculous saying that, but that's okay. It just gotta come out. My God.
Wow, Janae. We'll send you to poetic classes.
Just gotta say it, okay? I'm sorry. I know it doesn't say. It sounds better in my head than what it sounds when I speak it out. I said, Lord, you really want me to say that? But there we go. You heard it.
Thank you. You heard it here first.